So when I was a kid, somewhere around 5th or 6th grade, I had a best friend. And we did everything together. I mean everything. Like, we did homework together, we ate together, we played together, we sat next to each other in class. Everyone knew that the seat next to her was my seat, or the seat next to me was her seat. And sometimes we'd even coordinate to wear the same colored clothing together. I mean, we were committed. At least I thought we were committed. But one day, a new girl arrived on the ship that I lived on, and we didn't get new kids on the ship very often, so it was really exciting. I remember thinking, wow, we're gonna get to have 3 girls in our group now, and this is gonna be, triple the fun rather than twice the fun. We'll have triple the fun. And it only took probably a few weeks or days before I realized that wasn't gonna happen. And instead, I was slowly but surely replaced. I walked into class one day and the seat I always sat in was taken by the new girl. And then one day I wasn't even being invited to games and sleepovers and hangouts anymore. And I remember not only feeling absolutely devastated to have lost this friendship I thought was so strong, but I felt deeply betrayed because we had shared life together. We had told each other that we were best friends. These were the words that had been said. But then what I saw being played out in the action of these girls, or of my friends specifically, was the opposite. Jesus also experienced this kind of deep betrayal from one of his own disciples. He had 12 disciples that he did life with. He did everything with them. He taught them and he showed them miracles, and they ate together and journeyed together and slept in the same, tent or wherever they were outside. And then one of those disciples, Judas, ended up betraying Jesus and turning him into the Romans. And this betrayal directly led to Jesus's arrest and crucifixion. And so as the story goes, on the night that Jesus was betrayed, you may have heard that line many times at John Knox or in other church services you've attended before communion takes place. The pastor will say, on the night Jesus was betrayed, referring to Judas. And so on that night, Jesus was having the Passover meal with his disciples. And during this meal, Jesus said to his disciples as they're eating and reclining at the table, hey, one of you guys is gonna betray me. Can you imagine the shock? I mean, just think about it for a second. These people have been journeying together for at least 3 years, doing everything together, doing life together. And then your friend, the leader of the pack, who you respect and love and obey, says, one of you is gonna betray me. I mean, I had only been friends with my friend for a year, and that betrayal stung so badly. So can you imagine 3 years with Jesus, and now you're being told one of you is gonna betray him. One of us is gonna betray him. What? They're all, you can imagine the whispers, everyone trying to figure out, what are you talking about? We would never do that. We're your people. We're the ones who are loyal and faithful to you. Out of everyone, you can trust us. And so they all deny it. And then when it gets to Judas's turn, they're going down the line, and Judas says, surely not I. Jesus doesn't even call him out in a shameful way. He says to him, you have said it. He doesn't say, yeah, Judas, it's you. You're a terrible person. He just says, you have said it, as if to imply, this is fully your decision. You have said it. And he doesn't say this, but perhaps it's the implied meaning. You're the one who's doing this. This is your free choice to betray me. Maybe there was even a chance there in that encounter for Judas to stop his plan to betray Jesus. And then Jesus does something even more amazing. He takes the bread and he breaks it, and he says to them those famous words we say at church every week, that this is my body broken for you. And note that he doesn't exclude Judas here. He doesn't say, it's broken for all of you except you, because you suck and you're going to betray me, so get the heck out of here. No, broken for you, plural, all of you. And he takes the cup and he says, and this is my blood, the blood of the new covenant, shed for you. Not you, and definitely not you, Judas. All of you. Shed for all of you. Before the meal even began, Scripture tells us that Jesus, who had just a week or so before come into the city as this triumphal king, right? Everyone was so excited about the kingdom he was going to bring. He was going to overthrow the Romans. They had a lot of political hope in him, that he was going to gain freedom for the Jewish people who were under the oppressive reign of the Romans. And this Jesus who'd come in, right, the triumphal entry, he, at this meal, washes the disciples' feet, the task that only a servant should do. But he washes the disciples' feet, all of the disciples' feet. That means also Judas's feet. And so Jesus wasn't just showing us how to be a servant to those that you trust or who are nice or who will thank you or who will make you feel good, or to your friends and family. He showed us on that night before he endured the most painful death that one could experience. He showed us what it's like to serve and to love your enemy. That best friend who betrayed you, that best friend you thought you could trust and then did the worst possible thing you can imagine to you. Whatever, like, just take a moment and what would that look like for you? If your best friend was to hurt you the most right now, what would they do? Would they say something? Would they take something from you? Would they never talk to you again? What in your mind, what would be the worst kind of betrayal you could experience from your best friend right now? And think about that. And then think about what it would be like for Jesus to look at this person, to look at his friend, knowing in just a few hours, he's going to hand him over to the Romans. And imagine doing what Jesus did. Breaking the bread and pouring the cup for him, washing his feet. He shows us what it looks like to love our enemy. Jesus doesn't condone the behavior. He calls it out as betrayal. He's not saying, oh, it's okay, like, I want to love you, Judas, so it's okay if you betray me, like, whatever. No, it's not. It's not an abusive kind of relationship. This is, Jesus knows what's going on. He knows it's wrong. He calls it out as wrong, but he still loves Judas. He doesn't take revenge. He doesn't tell the disciples, hey, let's gang up on this guy and kill him. Like, let's get him out of here. No. He gives his body and his blood for Judas as well. And he washes his feet. And this is what we remember on Maundy Thursday, today. We remember this Last Supper, the betrayal from one of his deepest and closest friends, and then Jesus's journey from that place, that supper, that time with his disciples, into the Garden of Gethsemane, where he prays and pleads for God to take this cup away from him. And by cup, he means what he has to do, die. This crucifixion that's looming in front of him, he begs for it to be taken away, but ultimately says, not my will, but your will be done, God. And then Judas comes after he's done praying. He comes and he tells the Romans that the one I kiss, that is Jesus. And he betrays him. And it seems just like a complete reversal from what we were talking about a few days ago on Palm Sunday, where Jesus came in and there's these expectations that he's going to be victorious. He's going to overthrow the Romans, right? He's going to figure this mess out. But instead, one of his very own betrays him, and the Romans come and take him away, and the disciples scatter. It's very easy for us to be disappointed when we have certain expectations. And everyone, including the disciples, had an expectation of who Jesus was supposed to be and how he was supposed to do things. We see that on Palm Sunday. We see that their expectations were were pretty political and pretty bold and big. And now those expectations have been dashed, and they're literally fleeing from Jesus and running with fear, wondering, what happens now? What happens next? Where do we go from here? It's the same question I asked myself when I lost my best friend. As a kid, I remember thinking, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? This future I thought I had, the way I thought life was going to go for me, no longer exists. It's not happening that way anymore. So what now? What now? Let's ponder this question as we go through Maundy Thursday and into Good Friday, where we will talk about and reflect on the most painful part of Jesus's life on earth, the crucifixion.